Hello, hello. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody watching us tonight. Welcome to Bold Influence with Lyna Nyamwaya. Thank you for coming to our show. My earrings are by Elizabeth Green, someone I met here on Facebook. I haven't met her. Once again, welcome to Bold Influence. I'm so glad that you could join us. I am waiting to see more people. I see 2 people live already. That's awesome. I am waiting to see everybody come on. I will ask all my guests and my audience to share as much as possible this video. Can I have that phone there? So awesome. Yay! I see you. Please just comment to say where you're joining us from. Thank you for coming live. So I'm going to get started by saying we thank God for the gift of life and thank you for this opportunity. Today, I am very honored to have a special guest on Bold Influence. I call him a bold servant leader. I am very honored because he's a Kenyan immigrant like myself. This man came to America 17 years ago, and he came to the cold tundra of Minnesota. This is where he went to school. He got his bachelor's degree from Minnesota State University, Mankato. He did political science for his undergraduate and then went back and did his master's in public administration. Boni Njenja has been working with the government as a consultant in governmental affairs, and he's now working as a policy analyst. And the reason I bring him here is not because of his governmental affairs expertise or policy analyst, but he's decided to serve the county by being a bold leader. And so it's my great honor and privilege to welcome this Kenyan immigrant to the show. So everybody, please welcome our one and only brother here, Boni Njenja.
Lyna, thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be on board after all this time,
Hi, Boni. Nice to see you. Yes, thank you. Hi, and I want to acknowledge our audience as we welcome Boni. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie from Ohio. Enoch Nyakondo, thank you for those people who are commenting. We are not going to ignore you, but we appreciate your presence. Your time obviously is a gift to us. If we don't see you, don't feel bad. We totally appreciate your time. The audience from YouTube, I can't see you on this live, but I can feel you. Thank you for being here. All 20 of you, as you add and join and share widely, please, let's get started. And I want to make sure we share it so that everybody comes on. So my first question for my fellow Minnesotan, raised in Kenya like myself and schooled in Minnesota, who is Boni Njenja?
Wow, that's a good question. That back almost I don't know how many years back. Boni Njenja is a Kenyan born. Actually raised in the US. Actually, I have spent almost half of my life in the US. So I have it's been 17 years. I have half of my life.
Wow.
My dad was raised by a single mother. He raised six kids.
Wow.
And, he wanted me to have a better life, and he sent me to the US with $50 in the pocket and told me, hey, go out there and pursue the American dream, and here I am.
Awesome. $50. I hope you have more than $50 today.
I'm telling you, and the funny part about it is that I came to the US with $50 and an empty suitcase.
Yeah.
Just I think I just one pant, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
and I that's amazing. And it's so funny that we forget how far we've come, but it's a story of humble beginning, definitely. I want to acknowledge my friend Roderick Jefferson from California. Thank you for watching us. I want to acknowledge Enoch. I saw you. Everybody watching, my friend Rispa from Dallas. This is wide. My brother from Kenya, Sami, you're here. Thank you for joining us, everybody. So Boni is a Kenyan immigrant now, and he has shared his story that he's been here 17 years. And I think, Bonnie, you always hear people say, why Minnesota from tropical Kenya? Why would you settle in Minnesota?
Amazingly that most of us tend to move after college. You're like, what, I'm going to college for 5 years, whatever. Let me go to another state, Texas, down south, Florida, But I have been here for so long that I end up falling in love with Minnesota. I think I do pretty much everything in Minnesota. Minnesota is an outdoor state. So we're going to the lake, going to the rivers, trails, and biking. Fully Minnesotans. I have embraced the Midwestern life.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. So I want to just go straight to the questions of why you are doing what you're doing. So besides everything you've acquired, you've decided to go back and serve our communities, serve in government. My question for you right now is, what is a county commissioner? The reason you reached out, or the reason we connected, is, by the way, Bonnie and I have never met physically. So thank God for Corona. We have our virtual meeting right here. So my question for Bonnie then is, county commissioner. What is a county commissioner?
As I have been walking around meeting my voting block in the cities of Bloomington, Eden Prairie, and Richfield, most people are not familiar with what county commissioners are. And the first thing they always is like, who's a county commissioner? Yeah. And if you look at the ballot box, it's usually at the bottom of the next page. So, the Congress, or congressman, congresswoman, the mayor, city council, no. So what happens is that cities come together to form counties. And so, for example, you and me live in the same county. Hennepin County is one of the largest county in Minnesota. And so we have other counties like Washington, Ramsey, and so forth. So Hennepin County, being the largest county, is one of the well-resourced. With a population of 45 cities, 45 cities, and also a population of 1.2 million, and also a budget of $2.5 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money out there. So
yeah. So when you run as a county commissioner, what do you do? That's a lot of money. What are you expected to do?
So what happens is that in the counties are like it's like in a company you have the board of directors. The board of directors they give the company the vision of the company. So what the county commissioners do is that they write policies and also manage county resources. And you know that very well that we have some stuff like ACMC, which is one of the largest hospitals here. Parks, roads, all these resources.
I like that. And as a nurse, then I'm gonna question you further. Yeah. So you're like the board or the overseer of the city or the county, I should say, and you kind of give direction of where it's going and how that money is being spent, is what I'm hearing you say. Mm-hmm. So as a nurse, then you bring me and you mentioned something about policy.
Right.
So you went to school, and for you, that is like buying groceries. It's very natural, it's very effortless because that's what you do. But for someone like me, how is your experience, or what did you learn in your schooling that gives you an upper hand to be in policy writing?
That's a good question, and that's why I thank Minnesota for giving me a very great education. After all these years, I have been well trained professionally, and so everything that we do in Minnesota, it gets affected by policy, because somebody sits down and write down policy for you. The amount of water that you have in your house. The amount of speed that you're going to drive outside your car. Right now, we are living in COVID-19. For example, when you go to the grocery store, you have to wear a mask. It's a policy. It's not a law, but it's a policy. Mm-hmm. So why is it important? Because policies affect us in daily life. And for me, is that I have felt for so long is that if we are not in the menu, then where are we? So it's for us to be on the table, and because since you've been trained to be able to give back to the community.
That is so awesome. And I think I want to give a, before I rephrase what you just said, I want to give a shout out to Katie, Katie Bradley, who's saying, hi, Bonnie, Evelyn, who's watching, Amy Joy, thank you. Good stuff, she says. These are all people from everywhere. So all 60 of you, I see you and I want to acknowledge you. But I want to go back to what Bonnie said. And you guys have heard me say these so many times. If you're not at the tables, you're clearly not going to be, people are going to make decisions for you that are going to affect you without you. So
Right.
people are going to make decisions for you without you. That's what Bonnie is saying. So the reason he's running is because he wants to make a difference by being present where decisions are made. And I want to make sure that Bonnie explains that in his education, what gives him that opportunity to be in that evidence space. And if Bonnie, you can elaborate on the policy governance that is existing right now that gives you that opportunity.
I want to give two examples. I want to explain what's evidence-based policymaking that I'm running on, and also want to give examples on research that was done a couple of years ago by NPR. So I'm running to introduce something called evidence-based policymaking. And this is the new era of governance that has been being introduced for the last couple of years, 20, 25 years, that that will come and will save taxpayers money, because we're gonna use data and research when we're trying to implement, for example, like a program. And to bring back to our viewers why it's very important is, I want to give an example by research that was done by NPR. The research was done by NPR a couple of years ago. And the research showed that, for example, in education, it showed that kids who come from immigrant families, for example, Africans, Asians, Native Americans, or any minorities in Minnesota, is that when the kids are coming to school between grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, they're very enthusiastic to learn. And then when they reach grade 4, they end up losing that interest. And they found that it's the bias they get from the teachers, and this is why this goes back why we need to be on the table, because these are our own kids that are being affected.
That is amazing. And I think there was a question by one of the audience members that said, what qualifies you to be at the table? I think that's what they want to say about your schooling, your degree, your experience at the workplace. Do you want to share about that to answer Miss Maggie Njia?
Yes, Maggie here. What qualifies me is that I'm running on policies. My platform is on policy. My platform, because of my lived experience, I'm running on 5 platforms. One is creating community wealth. 2, fighting for safe and affordable housing. And most people tend to ask what qualifies you. Is that it's the experience that I've had that Minnesota has given me, and also the education that Minnesota has given me. And and after being for this for 17 years, I'm telling you, we can go back and forth some stories that I've had in this state.
Yes. And so, if I hear you correctly, what qualifies you is your political science and Masters of Public Administration as your education, and the experience that you've been a policy writer. And
Right.
I think maybe to want to add on that is that you are a consultant in government matters and
Yeah.
policy analyst. I think that's what she wants maybe to hear.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's what she wants to hear. So that brings me to the next question then. Why did you want to be telling people, why are you here today? What do you want people to know about Boni, and why should they care about Boni Njenja?
Well, that's a good question. Well, most of us, let's say as Kenyans or immigrants and so forth, we tend to sit back and watch and not be on the table. But we have seen, especially this year, that our own kids are not sitting down on the table. They're on the front lines. And a good example is the U of M student body president. She's Kenyan born, came on 2 years old, and she was like, what, hey, it's my time. Why not me? So for me is that I want to. For so long we have been behind the scenes, And now I want to be. I'm like, why not me? I'm experienced. I'm well educated. Went to the best schools in Minnesota, the best public schools. Why not me?
I love that. And I also want to say that we don't want to ignore the fact that you and I are in the hottest state right now, where George Floyd died, right
Right,
here, not too far from my house, or where you're living.
right,
But
right.
also, we are experiencing the worst situations in our elderly population. Speaking as a nurse from the nursing home, Minnesota has had the worst elderly death rate, considering COVID-19.
Right.
So what is your idea on that, and what is your take, maybe just to pass your condolences?
Well, you know, for George Floyd part is that I got to watch the video the same night, and
I haven't watched it, Bonnie, just so you know.
yeah, and for me, since then, I think last week the Hennepin County judge allowed the tape to be to be everywhere. Actually, I haven't gone back and watched it because that's me. As feel as a black male in the U.S. It's horrifying, it's traumatizing. You know, just tiring for everybody. And my condolences to the family. And for any, and I, for the last few weeks, what I've been saying, that we need to especially for us as black male, we need to talk about more about this stuff. And I think for most of us tend to be like, I guess, ignore it. But these things do happen. We get pulled over, and we we are brothers to people. We are sons. We are husbands to people. So, and definitely they're worried about our lives.
And I love that we are talking about this, because you can see the numbers suddenly jumped from our viewers from 60 to 100, because people really want to talk about matters that matter to them.
Right.
And I like to say, as a nurse, in 2018, the American Public Health Administration ruled police brutality as law enforcement violence against the public. So this is not new. It's not something Lyna and Boni made up. As Black people living in these communities, we are aware of what we experience. And when people are reading it in books, we are living it in our lives. And I think the beauty of what Boni is saying, yes, we recognize there's good people out there, and we recognize there's bad things out there. But I think what gives you an upper hand than Boni in this situation is you're a trained policy writer. So I want you to spare that, and like, I think that gives you that upper hand, or a better place to serve, because you know that policies written can affect people more actually than laws sometimes. So I want to make sure that people know that that's what part that's one part of the experience that Boni brings to the table, that he's been writing policy, he's been working in Hennepin County, he's been working with great teams, and it's time for him to serve. I think that's what you're trying to tell people, that you're bringing that experience to make the difference and bring the change that is so needed to those tables. So I think my next question for you, which is really where we are going with this, is, as a community, as a Black community, as an immigrant community, as an African immigrant community, what do you want us to do what can we do to be civilly engaged? And we're thinking about here, you can talk about anywhere from how you feel about the voting rights to whatever. I think you and I have had these conversations.
For one thing is that obviously African Americans have paved the way for us. We had John Lewis, who passed away a few weeks ago. He fought for us to vote.
That's right.
And it's very important for us to be civically engaged. I don't know about other states, but I can tell you that in Minnesota, for example, our daughters and our neighboring sisters and brothers, in this just last one, on August 11th, they had 94% of in voting. Just one community, 94% is a high number.
Wow.
How much is civically engaged?
That's amazing.
And for me, what I tell my community is that we live here, we're raising our kids here. It's very important for us to be on the table. Get to know who's your city councilor, Get to know who is your mayor. Get to know who is running your school board. The person running the school board is affecting, what kind of food your kid is eating, what kind of syllabus your kid is going to be taught. I know we like doing doubles, but at the same time, our job is our kids and give them the best chance in life they can have. So I would want to see more of us being politically engaged.
I love that. And I think it's important. I think those who watch me, I shared last year where I was challenging all the parents that be present at your children's schools, right? So don't worry about being that parent that is liked. Worry about being that parent that is respected, the parent that is always present, that is volunteering, that is chaperoning. Because these disparities that exist in education or in the classrooms, they travel all the way to the boardrooms, and we gotta be present to make a difference.
Right.
I just want to say, thank you, Sira. She says powerful. We need to be more engaged. I agree. And Sami, thank you for sharing this widely. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of people watching. Thank you, Jenny Rungu. Thank you, Sami, Irene, Joynita, Amy, Katie, Francis, Enoch. Oh my goodness, we see all of you, and we don't want to be distracted, but that's the danger of having a live show, because you kind of want to make sure you're not ignoring your audience. So Jane Zuri from Kansas, yes. Going back to my brother Boni, let's not be distracted here. You brought up a very good point about we can't live in doubles and forget being civilly engaged. What do you want people to do to get you that? So you are running for county commissioner. And I think when I asked you, what do you want your community to do to be civilly engaged? Can you say what cities you're running in and what you expect of us to do?
Before I say what cities I'm running, I just want to go back to what you just said, where people need to be civically engaged. There's a study that was done, and let me go to that study. It showed that when a teacher sees that a parent is involved with their own child, especially if you're an immigrant, the teacher tends to give more focus to that child. So I'll not tell that to my fellow viewers, that get involved. Let the teacher know who are your names.
Yes.
On first name basis.
Yes.
It will affect the child. What cities am I running? I'm running in 3 cities: Richfield, Bloomington, and Eden Prairie. And that's called District 5, Hennepin County District 5.
Okay. So you say Bloomington,
Eden Prairie, Richfield.
So Bloomington, Richfield, and Eden Prairie. For all those who are citizens of the United States watching, if you're Kenyan or from Africa as an immigrant, and you have the opportunity to be a citizen who's eligible to vote in this country, and you happen to live in Bloomington, Richfield, or Eden Prairie, District 5 is another term for it. You need to make sure you find Boni Njenja. It's a very easy name to find, Boni Njenja, on your ballot, and support him, because he would be happy to have your your endorsement to serve you. And I see, as our viewers increase to over 100, Boni, this is your opportunity to reach out to people and actually let me ask you this question. So you've kind of figured it out, and you're already on the ballot, and you've qualified to be where you are. And if I'm thinking about this little legend who's running barefooted in Kenya, going to primary school, and suddenly he's wearing suits wanting to be the boardrooms in America, it's a really humbling experience if you want to share it like that. But my ask of you is, other Kenyans or other Africans or other Black people living in different states in the United States, can you just give them a screenshot or like a snapshot of how to run or how to get to where you are? And I want to ask you that before I ask you the end, because I think you want to educate our people to know how to get to where you are. How is this journey?
The journey, well, for me,
very briefly, you don't have to go into detail.
I'm privileged that I have a background in political science. I'm able to, understand the U.S. administration, on another level. But for me, what I tell people is that, if you can, is that get involved in some of this campaign. It doesn't matter if it's running for a school board, city council. Get involved to that, because you get to know how to canvass, to door knocking. You get to know how to be chased away, or and to be told no. You get to you get to know how to. I get good DMs and bad DMs. People telling you, "Oh, this negativity," but hey, it's part of the process. So the most important thing is that I would say that get to volunteer some of this campaign and just to get to know the process. Much more easy to understand.
I like that.
Yes.
So if I was living in, like, for example, Texas, somebody's watching from Texas,
Right.
what would you say to the young Morgan Kinothia there, how to get on the ballot? Do you have like a pattern? Do you have a system? If I'm a nurse and I'm not in policy writing,
Right.
what do I do to be doing like what Boni's doing? Like, how do I become a Boni Njenja in my state?
It's very easy. The beauty about America is that for example, is that for me to for the county commissioner, it's very simple. Am I a U.S. citizen? Yes, I am. Am I at the age of voting? Yes. And just $50 or $30 for paying for it. It doesn't require that much to be a candidate.
Okay, so you just need to. Where do you go to sign? Where do you find that? Is that at the city hall? Is that?
Yes. So it differs. So for city councilors, let's say, for example, select Minneapolis, you go to Minneapolis. The city of Minneapolis has an office for it. For the county, you go to the county offices, and it differs on city to state. So it's not really a one path.
Okay, so what you're saying is follow your passion and then dig it up. So that brings me then to the next question. If people want to talk to you privately for the detail of this significant, or even to support your path, to support what you're doing, to support your campaign, how do people get to people get to Boni?
Right. I like the question. Right there, no fellow and can be a candidate. Yes. Yes. Well, one is as you said, my name is very easy, Boni Njenja. So that's my website. Facebook, same thing, Boni Njenja for D5. And you can send me a text. You can DM me. You can tweet me, and we can communicate. I'm easily accessible. We are living in a digital world.
I like that. And now that it's virtual, nobody can give an excuse. They can't drive to your house because they can find you 24/7 through this.
Back to your question is that how can they support me? They can share. They can share to their. If you live in Minnesota, you can share to your colleagues, your coworkers. Share. Follow me on Facebook. Share what I post, and then definitely campaigns are run by donations. It's it doesn't matter if it's a presidential. Bernie Sanders, when running, kept saying $17. It's our largest donation. So go on my website, boninjenja.com, and support the journey for me.
All right. So Boni, if you want to donate to his campaign, if you want to support him in any shape or form, if you have a question on how to be a Boni Njenja and apply from your state, go visit www.boninjenja. It's on the screen.com. He's got a Twitter handle, he's got a Facebook handle, he's got an Instagram. And again, he's got a private page. I imagine you could inbox him there as well. So we are almost coming to the end, even though we got everybody watching. Oh my God, there's a lot of people, almost 100 of them. This is amazing. So I am excited once again to say that we will bring Boni back, and he has to promise to come back and tell us how he did or what he learned from this. But those who know me know that I love leadership nuggets, and leadership nuggets is really wisdom to carry us through the day. I love African proverbs because they teach us from old wisdom that before the world existed, that we were smart and wise. So my ask of you today, I like how you said it, but it's to be reminded that if you are not at the table, you will be the menu, you will be eaten.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're at the table deciding what works for you. That is what Boni is trying to do by running for county commissioner. And Boni, maybe you want to tell people that do you have to be a Democrat or a Republican to run for county commissioner? Do you want to share that before I ask you for your leadership nugget?
Yes. The beauty about the county commissioner is that it's a non-partisan seat.
Awesome.
It's a non-partisan seat. You don't have to be a Democrat. You don't have to be a Republican. Anybody can vote. Anybody can vote on that. In other seats tend to have, for example, in Minnesota, we say we have Ilhan. Our next one is going to be DFL, meaning that she's a Democrat. But for the county commissioner and judges too, there are no party to next to it.
So you are a non-partisan seat, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, and that's what I love about leadership. It doesn't matter what party you're running from, you're just going to serve. So I think it's important to share that with people, that you have no excuse to say, oh, he's not in my party or he's not my candidate. He's a leader, a commissioner. They don't have to align with any party. They're just going to serve from their experience.
Right.
And again, I have to reiterate that I'm very proud of the bold leadership by the one and only Boni Njenja, who is decided to put his life on the line to serve the community as a Hennepin County commissioner. Too bad I don't live in your District 5, but I know you got my vote on that case. I just want to say this, though. What is your parting words, that leadership nugget, for before we let everybody go? We are at the 29th minute. That's awesome. And we got about almost 100 people listening to you. Give them wisdom. That's a lot of pressure for you.
It's a lot of pressure for me. I have to read that. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm gonna quote Paul Wellstone, our former Minnesota senator that died on a plane crash, I think around 2002. He said that he used to advise immigrants is that if you want change, you have to be on the table, and you have to be civically engaged in politics. That's where change happens. That's where policy is written. Policy is written in a government. So you need to be on that table.
I love that. Yeah. And to be reminded of what one speaker shared here not too long ago, is that decisions are made by those who show up. Right. So when you show up at the polls on November 3rd, you're going to decide if Boni wins or not. Right. So I just want to highlight bold leaders when I bring them here. Those who know me know that I brought Republicans from Mayor Lundy to Democrats, Ilham. We have a non-partisan right now, Boni Njenja. So I think it's important to have those leaders and question them on how they are going to serve our communities. I'm very proud of what you're doing. As a Kenyan immigrant, like myself, like yourself, who came as an F1, and now we are serving our communities for the giving back for what they've given us. I love your wisdom from your mom. I think you shared this with me in the past. Right. When you're given, learn to give back 100-fold. And I want to add, as a believer, someone who believes in God first, is that God will reward you in return. So I want to say thank you, Boni. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to say this. Boaz Ogeto, Morgan Kinothia, Sira, Shiro, Frances, Jenny Rungu, Sami, Irene, and everybody that I can't see. Oh gosh, Amy Joy, Francis Moniro, Irene. I don't want to waste time naming someone and then forgetting one. But does mail-in voting work? I think somebody brought that question. I don't want to ignore their question there.
That's a very important question. Lyna, before I answer this question, you said you don't live in my district, but actually you have friends, you have co-workers.
I do.
You gotta tell them, and they have neighbors too. To answer this question about mail-in voting, on September 18th, next month, September 18th to November 2nd, you can do mail-in voting in the state of Minnesota. You can do mail voting, and also you can even vote if you live in my Hennepin County downtown government center, or in the city of Bloomington. You can also do that.
Okay, so you say that we can do
back to my election. That's a very good question. In Minnesota, I follow the Secretary of State, Steve Grove. We have had the largest request of absentee ballots that have been in the history of Minnesota. So, and this past election, August in the primary, over 50% of voting was done through mail. So it's going to make a lot of change. So if you have anybody out there, please do the and actually this is better because you don't have to worry about COVID-19.
Awesome. So we do see that September 18th, that's from my YouTube channel. It's saying okay for mail-in voting from September 18th in Minnesota. I also want to say that thank you for everybody saying great job, great, awesome. Thank you too. Pray for him, send him positive vibes, send him positive energy prayers. He's gonna need all of that. But more importantly, share with your with your friends and colleagues and workers and everybody that lives within District 5. That's the city of Bloomington, Richfield, and Eden Prairie. And I think we do believe that compassion without action is useless. So let's make sure that we are actually acting and doing more. On that note, I want to say thank you to our viewers. Thank you for everybody who joined us. Boni, unless you have parting words or anything else to add, I am about to say God bless you and good night.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all the viewers and thank you for all support. And I look forward to engaging you in Facebook or my website. You can DM me, you can send me an email, we can talk.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, everybody. All 110 of you. We thank you, Sira. We see you. I have tagged your comment up there. And again, God bless you and take care of you and keep you and stay safe in these corona times. Don't forget to wash your hands and wear that mask. And again, stay safe. We do need to change and we do need policies that work for all of us, not just some of us. So on that note, God bless you and good night.
Thank you so much.
Yes.